Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Type V3 and no, your eyes don't deceive you. This is indeed a Chogokin Hello Kitty, a project conceived by Bandai to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the iconic Sanrio character. Chogokin Hello Kitty is a glorious little chunk of collectible metal. The proportions are only slightly mechanical and not overly robotic. Small rivets and thin seam lines help sell the mecha vibe, and the exposed screw holes and visible switches give an oddly nostalgic charm. There's even rocket boosters under her feet. Paintwork, though straightforward, has been cleanly and evenly applied. Hitting a switch behind the left ear opens the cockpit. If I'm honest, it's a bit barren and would have preferred some personalization to it. Still, it's a minor complaint on what's arguably the most impressive robotic Hello Kitty to date. At 4.5 inches in height, she may be tiny, but almost all of her construction is completely die-cast. The only plastic pieces are her arms, bow, and clear cockpit. As a result, Hello Kitty is deceptively heavy. For comparison, she's easily heavier than every figure in the Super Robot Chogokin toy line, and would even give some of the smaller Solo Chogokin releases a run for their money.
Articulation is quite basic. The head can rotate side to side on very soft, clicky ratchets, and it can also pose up and down with two big locking points. The arms can swivel at the shoulders, and of course they are limited by the giant head, so that's really all the range of motion you're going to get. The legs can kick forward about 90 degrees, which are done on very clicky and soft ratchets, and as for the tail, it can go down, just like that. It's on a simple hinge joint that can go down.
Obviously, this toy isn't super articulated. However, when you consider how many different poses the actual Hello Kitty's been seen doing throughout the years, you have to admit this Chogokin figure can just about hit them all. Accessories start with the Solo Chogokin style display stand complete with mounting points for Hello Kitty to peg into. There's also small divots that line up with the metal wheels on the back of the figure's legs and tail so that you can display Hello Kitty in the seated vehicle position. My only complaint with the stand is that I wish the gold label was done in a classic cursive Hello Kitty logo instead. Next up is a Hello Kitty figurine. It's got a nice appearance and sits at about an inch tall. You can either peg it onto one of 2 points on the display stand or have it pilot the Chogokin. Moving on, there's a number of extra parts to help Hello Kitty achieve her different modes. Essentially, you have 2 support pieces for the stand, and a giant bow. Put both to use, and now you have Hello Kitty in a Mazinger Z-inspired flight mode. Conversely, you can split up the bow into 2 separate flippers and attach them to her feet. Hit the cockpit button to activate the searchlights, and now you have Hello Kitty in diver mode. Hello Kitty's last feature is her rocket punch. These are simply done by hitting the switches on her arms, but to help sell the destructive capabilities even more, hit the cockpit button twice to activate attack mode. The evil look is both cute and intimidating. Finally, when not using any of these parts, they can all be stored underneath the display stand. It's quite convenient. Chogokin Hello Kitty is a properly retro release. Between its all-metal construction, basic articulation, and harder focus on gimmicks, it feels like a toy that was devised and developed from a much simpler time. The aim here was not to impress through innovative engineering, and with its wide production run and reasonable $40 price tag, it won't be subjected to limited exclusivity. And yet, it still feels like a very special toy. Hello Kitty fans will find value in how different this figure is, and toy collectors looking for a unique piece to fill out their shelves will be satisfied. In many ways, Chogokin Hello Kitty is the perfect way for Bandai to commemorate the 40th anniversary of this iconic Sanrio character. But that's all for me. Thanks for watching, and remember, you can never have too many friends to kill.